G'day, welcome back to MGUY and welcome to this edition of MGUY EV News for Saturday the 18th of May 2024. So even the UK public broadcaster, the BBC, which is as woke as they come, is having to concede that there's something going on with the electric car market. Is the move to electric cars running out of power? Yes, it is. Buoyant electric car sales are a must if we're to hit our climate targets, but EV sales in the West are down, and if governments want them to recover, it may have to be at the expense of their own economies. Any motorway driver will know the feeling. You're cruising along miles of open road seemingly ahead, and then, from nowhere, a slowdown. Something similar has hit the electric vehicle market in 2024. It's not just a slowdown, it's hit a wall. After years of soaring sales, growth appears to be stalling. Replacing fossil fuel-powered cars with EVs is central to the UK government's plan to meet its climate goals. Road transport accounting for 12% of planetary emissions. The question is whether this is a blip that will soon disappear into the rearview mirror, or is this going to prove more enduring? And if it lasts, will governments have the stomach to do what it takes to keep the net zero show on the road? Well, let's hope they don't have the stomach for the net zero fight and abandon it, because that would make the most sense. More Cybertruck nonsense. Oh, what a surprise. Shock. Elon Musk lied about viral Tesla Cybertruck drag race video. The Tesla Cybertruck is rapidly fast even when towing a Porsche 911, but it can't beat a 911 while doing so, despite Elon Musk's claims. Tesla's viral video of its Cybertruck beating a Porsche 911 in a drag race while towing another 911 has been proven to be misleading. In the video released last year, the Cybertruck appeared to win the sprint, but questions soon arose as to why Tesla had left out key details about the drag race, such as the length of the drag strip and what kind of Porsche 911 it was racing against. A deep dive by Engineering Explained host Jason Fenske on YouTube found the drag race had taken place across an eighth mile, not the quarter mile, as claimed by Tesla CEO Elon Musk, and the 911 which took part in the race was a base spec manual, the slowest on offer. Mr. Fenske's calculations found the Porsche would have won the race if it was across the standardised quarter-mile length, but this theory couldn't be proved without access to the vehicles. Enter Motor Trend, which put the theory to the test after receiving a Tesla Cybertruck in flagship Cyber Beast guise. Even the name's stupid. 2 Porsche 911 Carrera Ts and the same trailer as used in the original video. The result? The Porsche 911 beat the Tesla Cybertruck every time, with the sports car's 400-metre runs varying from 12.5 to 12.38 seconds, while the electric pickup's fastest time was 12.75 seconds. I mean, who cares that a truck can do a quarter mile in 12 seconds? Who cares? It doesn't have enough towing capacity to actually do the job of a truck. It's useless as a truck. It's just a pointless, garish vanity symbol. Next. Chevrolet Bolt owners win $150 million settlement after electric vehicles caught fire. General Motors and LG are establishing a $150 million fund to compensate Chevrolet Bolt owners after a faulty battery caused some of the electric vehicles to burst into flames. The $150 million is part of a legal settlement between GM and Bolt owners who filed a class action suit against the Michigan automaker in 2020 for allegedly selling them a vehicle with a defective battery. Bolt owners who installed special software that GM offered to fix the battery issue can receive $1,400 from the fund, according to court documents filed late Thursday in Michigan. Bolt owners who sold their car before that date, or drivers who leased the Bolt before then, are eligible for a $700 payment, according to the documents. Well, class actions and payouts like this are common in the industry generally, but I think with EVs it's going to be particularly difficult to avoid if there are fires and other things which cause, for example, property damage or loss of life. Yeah, it's a minefield. More vaporware. I mean, the Telegraph, as I said yesterday, is generally pretty good with EV stuff, but then it comes up with something like this, which is, clearly nonsense. China develops revolutionary electric car battery that can charge in 10 minutes. Remarkable developments in chemistry allow vehicles to travel 600 miles between charges. China has developed a revolutionary car battery that can charge in just 10 minutes and power a car for hundreds of miles before it needs to be plugged in. A report from the International Energy Agency, IEA, has hailed remarkable developments in chemistry that have allowed China to develop new batteries that pack far more energy than existing technologies. The IEA highlighted EV batteries capable of travelling 250 miles without a recharge. Newer versions announced since the report was written can manage 600 miles. Let's see it then. Unless I see it, it's just vaporware. And the other point that people never understand is if you make batteries that can be charged in 10 minutes rather than an hour, then you need 6 times the electricity to do that. Yes, you can charge them more quickly, but there's no electricity to do it. This is the trade-off that I've tried to make clear in my videos before. You can have fast charging, or you can have reasonable connections to the grid. You can't have both. So batteries that can charge in 10 minutes, it's meaningless because there won't be the electricity to do it. Next. And here we have some wishful thinking. Nearly 80% of consumers would consider buying an EV in 4 years, Cox says. EV skeptics would consider an EV if it costs the same as a gasoline-powered alternative and if more public charging becomes available. I mean, even in the headline and that first sentence, there's so many questions, there's so many ifs. Yeah, I mean, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bike. Cost the same as a gas-powered car? Yeah, that would be great. And if more public charging becomes available. Terrible journalism. Consumer interest in electric vehicles continues to decline, but is looking up long-term in my head. By 2028, nearly 80% of car buyers are likely to consider an EV, according to Cox Automotive. As EV consideration grows, sales are expected to follow, said Stephanie Valdez-Streety, Director of Industry Insights at Cox Automotive. But there are caveats. Yes, here they come. EV skeptics, consumers who are not considering an EV purchase within the next 24 months, would think about buying an EV if it costs the same as a gasoline-powered alternative and if more public charging becomes available. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to pack our kids into metal boxes attached to massive lithium-ion batteries and send them to school in that. Brilliant. And apparently these 500,000 school buses could power the grid or something. Just seriously. 500,000 school buses across the US could become EV battery powerhouse, feeding energy back into the grid. Zum, which provides EV school buses and other student transport solutions to many districts across the country, will begin to feed power stored in EV bus batteries back to the California grid in a deal with Oakland and Pacific Gas and Electric. Across the US, there are an estimated 500,000 school buses which, if converted to EV like Oakland School District, could become a significant source of energy for utility power grids. The fact that the buses, the nation's largest mass transit system, are not used during peak evening energy demand hours makes the business case compelling, though the concept is still in very early days. And finally, I've said on so many occasions that if you think EV cars are mad, EV trucks are madder still. When you think how much electricity is required, how big the batteries have to be, how poor the range is, how inconvenient it is to wait for hours in the middle of the day while these things charge up. They're still pressing on with it, and guess what? Companies hate them. Companies are balking at the high costs of running electric trucks. A rider analysis shows operating expenses of low-emissions rigs are far higher than those for diesel trucks. Tell me something I didn't know. Executives at truck leasing company Ryder Systems spent years listening to some of their biggest customers say they wanted to switch to battery electric big rigs. Well, more fool them for even thinking that. Now that the heavy-duty trucks are available, the company says, few customers want to pay for them. The economics just don't work for most companies, said Robert Sanchez, the chief executive of Ryder, which manages 250,000 trucks and vans for tens of thousands of retailers and manufacturers. Riders' experience illustrates the challenges facing state and federal governments as they try to push truckers out of heavy polluting diesel rigs, which actually do the job of being a big rig, and into zero emissions vehicles. It suggests that truck makers will need to make significant advances in battery weight, range and charging times. I think I just said that. If battery electric trucks are to seriously challenge diesel rigs in a highly competitive freight sector that runs on thin margins. Quite frankly, demand has not been as strong as what we would like, said Rakesh Aneja, head of e-mobility at Daimler Truck North America, which released its Freightliner e-Cascadia battery electric semi-truck in 2022. Again, you think about EVs, you think about the amount of power they require to charge in a reasonable length of time, you just multiply that by 10 for a truck. You might be talking megawatt chargers required, and they'd still take longer than filling a tank with fuel. It makes no sense whatsoever. But when's that ever stopped anyone? Okay, that's just about it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one. Bye for now.